still there.
Such fun. Don't we have such fun? How can you call?
No, you don't. We're fine.
I'm really upset.
Okay, but that's okay. You don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything. You make that clear.
Where you go? Is Jarrell supposed to sit over here?
If you move over here,
Aaron.
wasn't he over there?
I don't know.
They don't.
She put you down on that. Because this was too close.
Did she move you over?
Yeah. I'm adding something
went
for
to the
her.
purse.
I'm just adding another tab.
Rowland's coming over there.
I was like, why is my stuff going crazy?
Yeah, I'm just adding another tab.
You want me to leave?
I'm just adding another
I'll
tab
leave.
for Miss Fountain when she comes in. I'll just log in under mine.
What, you okay?
Huh?
You okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we're waiting on Rachel. She's right there.
You're not going to sit on that. You're not going to sit on that, are you?
Oh, yes, I am. That thing goes down too slow.
Oh.
I'm sorry about
I
that.
can't get up
That's
that
fine.
low. You're going to help pick me up.
Find it? Find
It's
it.
higher than a chair.
Okay, it's up there.
There's no air in there.
Jack it up.
Rachel, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just air moving.
Call the meeting to order.
Air moving.
Yeah, if I'm going to sit there a
We
long time.
stand for the
Or I'm get up there.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Over there, over there.
Right there in the corner. Those two over there. Right there?
Right. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So one more time, I apologize for being late coming out of the closed session. I was trying to promise we wouldn't do that, but we did, so here I am again. Oh, yeah, would you call the roll, please? I'm jumping.
Archie.
Here.
Baronis. Here. Bolin.
Present.
Gathing.
President.
Johnston.
Present.
Verrett.
Present.
Williams.
Present.
Okay, on the agenda, the next thing is the superintendent's report. Do we have a report regarding instruction?
And followed by the audit, the instructional audit.
That's the financial audit.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Gabrielle Garrett. I'm the Director of Secondary Education, and we're going to just do a brief overview of competency-based education. Competency-based education is an instructional philosophy that the district has been utilizing to achieve our goal of equity in education. CBE is a set of systems and structures that are designed to personalize learning for students. A key tenet in that being that students are to focus on the mastering of a learning target. I've included a longer YouTube video there if the board would like to watch it at its own pleasure. The Aurora Institute, which is the national sort of standard setter for competency-based education in the United States, has these key tenets of which we follow. Competency-based education is to empower students daily, have students have meaningful assessment, give timely differentiated support. Progress is based off of mastery of the competencies. There are varied pathways and pacings. Equity strategies drive the culture, structure, and pedagogy, and it is based off of rigorous common expectations. In Kankakee, our focus areas of CBE have been that grades do not belong to the teacher or the school, but they belong to the student. We've expanded our opportunities for acceleration and remediation, but they are not based off of seat time. We have opportunities for students to earn credit through non-traditional means, such as workplace experiences, application of learning, such as the YEP program, Freedom School, the CEO program, internships, the school bookstore, etc. We've ensured that students receive equitable learning opportunities, especially those students with disabilities, EL 504, and students who are not performing at grade level. Teachers use grade level instructional materials while also providing scaffolding and differentiation. And students receive multiple opportunities to show competency of the mastery competency. We align with students' career and education plans that's focused on their interests and needs. Competencies are skills and knowledge. In Kankakee, students have access to grade-level, district-approved curriculum, which is written around the National Common Core ELA Science, Math, and Social Studies standards. Competencies are created from these standards, which are grouped by related skills combining to serve in a student's level of mastery. Performance-based assessments, as you see, there's quite a long list that's been provided here, are required by the learner to apply their skills and their knowledge from their grade-level, district-approved curriculum to construct answers, produce a product, or perform an activity. All performance-based assessments should be both meaningful and challenging. And the list that you see here is just a sample of the various performance-based assessments we have district-wide. So what is CBE and what is it not? It is repeated assessment of skills to show proficiency, providing remediation for students who do not understand, and enrichment opportunities for those who are quickly mastering competencies. It is not a one and done. It is not just assessing and moving on without understanding and proficiency. CBE is an instructional philosophy and teaching style. Is understanding that learning will look different for all students and creating a pathway for students which allows them to have a solid foundation to build towards their post-secondary goals. It is not a curriculum or a gradebook. So there are three different levels of roles and responsibilities within the district. You have the strategist, which is the superintendent, the tactician, which is district and building administration, and the operationalist, which are our teachers, counselors, and support staff. The strategist sets the vision for the district. They determine the outcomes and communicate that vision and outcomes to the stakeholders. They assign those tacticians who will unroll that vision. They review reports and feedback from the implementation team or teams and use that feedback to adjust outcomes. The district and building administration then creates the implementation plan, putting that vision into action. They coordinate with the stakeholders to ensure the implementation plan is meeting outcomes, assign the operationalist tasks, create and reports to provide feedback to the strategist, and then holds operationalists accountable for maintaining the vision and implementation of the plan. And then our operationalists put the plan into action. They provide feedback to the statistician to make sure that are addressing barriers in the implementation plan, and then provide outcome and communication of success in areas for needs of improvement. What do the CBE waivers allow us to do here in Kankakee? Very importantly, they remove the barrier of time and space. Students can earn credit for what they know, not how long they are sitting in a seat. We have had LAA days, which we're allowed to use for attendance days. They allow summer school to not be based off of time, but rather off of student needs. They allow the high school credits to be met outside the classroom or traditional learning experiences, as I mentioned in the previous slide. And they allow us to hire personnel who have content knowledge, applicable experience, and education for their position. Here I've included a snapshot from the Aurora Institute of districts K through 12 and competency-based education state policies in 2012. As you can see, in 2012, there was a very limited number of districts nationwide who were involved in competency-based education. In red is those that were considered advanced states that had in-depth policy. In green is emerging states who had a depth of knowledge, but were not fully statewide. In orange is states that were just starting to investigate it, and in white is they had no policy at all. And then we have California, which has its own educational system slightly different than the other states. Here in 2023, you can see a marked difference. Those states in red are now considered advanced implementation of competency-based education at a statewide level. In green are developing, in orange are emerging, and there are no white states left in the United States that have not in some way adopted competency-based education at some level statewide. Are there any questions that I can answer for anyone?
Any questions for the board? Thank you very much, Ms.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Walters. So during the beginning of this year, when we went to the Illinois Regional Office, we normally have a breakfast at the beginning of the year. We were then told that Kankakee would go through, it was our turn to go through an audit, not only of instructional programs, but this audit involved human resource, it involved technology, it involved the business office. And with Dr. Walters' permission, we started early because there was so much to do, and we wanted to make sure that we had ample time to get the information that we needed to give to the Regional Office of Education so that we can be compliant and we can be in good standing with our audit. I'm just going to go through a few things from our audit. This is our audit dashboard that we had to make sure that we uploaded information concerning there were about 5 areas. It was students, staff and personnel, policy and governance, health, life, and safety, and then also instructional programs. So all of those categories, we had to provide documentation that we either had things in place or that we were in the process of putting those procedures in place. And so this was a very, very tedious, long, tedious assignment. And the audit is actually not done into June, but we have uploaded all of our information to the Regional Office of Education. And we are now in the process of waiting to hear back from them. We've heard back on them on some things we have not, to make sure that we need to make any adjustments. But the good thing is, because we started early, that if any adjustments had to be made, then we can make those quite, I'm not going to say easily, but we can make those adjustments. So I'm just going to briefly go through each of the categories. I'm not going to go through everything, just to give you an idea of what needs to be done. Remember, there are 5 categories. This category is students, and these are all of the numbers and the activities that we had to do for just under students. And again, this is just one portion of it. And when you go further, so let's look at 102. This is 102, and this is all the information that we had to upload. Here you see over here, this is information that we uploaded. It's now been locked because we're done with this portion and waiting for ICANN to call us back or to let us know if we need to do anything else. But there were about 15 or 20 different items. Some you would have one item, some you would have several, like this one. And all this information on this side where the cursor is at, this is all the information that we as the district committee had to upload in order to make sure that this was complete. So again, this was a long process, and but we get really high ratings when the ICANN office came in, so we're very proud of that. And so this was a lot of work to do, but we were able to get it done with a lot of teamwork. So I do want to just shout out Rachel because she was really instrumental in helping us get this all done. And so thank you so much, Rachel. And all of our departments, if you worked on the audit, and if you're here, can you please stand? Again, this took a lot of time, meeting after meeting after meeting, every week, for weeks, not weeks, for months and months, to make sure that we had all of the information that the Illinois Regional Office was asking us for, and to make sure that we were current and that the district did not receive any low ratings. And we're proud to say, because of the hard work and the teamwork, although it was a long process, the district came out very well, and so far, we've heard from the regional office, and they say things look fine on the district's end. So we appreciate everybody for their hard work in this process.
Any questions for the board regarding this audit? Hearing none, thank you very much, Ms. Fountain. Tonight we have dueling audits. We've just had the regional office audit, and we now have the financial audit to be presented tonight.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me. My name is Scott Denzer. I'm a partner with Whipley LLP. I was a partner in charge of the account this year. I hope everybody had a chance to look at the report, and please, I'll be brief. I'm going to touch on some highlights in this thing as the outside independent auditor, and I'll try and answer any questions you may have. If you have any questions come up while I'm talking, please feel free to jump right in and stop me. But I want to start.
Could you pull your microphone a little closer?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just want to start on page 1. Good. This is our audit opinion, our opinion on the financial statements. Just want to go over as in prior years, the district reports their financial statements on the regulatory reporting model as prescribed by ISBE. So these are not generally accepted accounting principle financial statements. They're statements that are specifically designed to meet the requirements of your regulatory body, which is ISBE. They're also prepared on the modified cash basis. So there's not really any accruals in here like receivables, property tax receivables, grants, accounts payable. Basically, what's reflected in the statements are when cash is paid out and expenses recorded, and when income comes in or revenue or money comes in the bank, on the cash basis, a revenue is recorded. So it doesn't take into consideration any timing differences of when expenditures were incurred. So that's why if we read the opinion, we have an adverse opinion on the U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. It's not GAAP, but it is. But we do have an unmodified opinion on the regulatory reporting model, as you can see in it's the third paragraph, page 1. That basically means that we believe these financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, taken as a whole. This is a concept of reasonable assurance based on our audit procedures. We do, we confirm balances, do analytical review, rework reconciliations. With outside parties, we get a lot of information. So all these processes we do lead us to a point where we finally think when these financial statements are in here, that's what actually happened. Based on, we do not offer absolute assurance. No auditor can. To do that, we'd have to be here every day and watch and go through every transaction. But we believe these are fairly stated in all material respects based on our procedures. I just briefly want to go through some of the financial statements, some highlights. Page 5 and 6 is basically what I would consider the balance sheet. And this is a snapshot as of June 30th, 2023. So as of that date, the district had about $30 million in cash on hand. And as you can see, there's no receivables, there's no payables in these financial statements because they're just on the cash basis. District had about $172 million in building, equipment, vehicles, capital assets referred to, and about almost $33 million in long-term debt would be bonds and other pension debt. If we go to page 7 and 8, this is basically your income statement. And these 9 funds are prescribed by ISBE. Every district in Illinois reports these same 9 funds, if applicable. Just want to highlight a couple things here that I see. Overall, across all funds, the district had a net loss of about $843,000, which is not bad. It's pretty close, but a little bit of a concern is when I look at the first 2 columns here, the education fund and the operation and maintenance fund. Those are the biggest. Education is obviously your biggest, and then O&M is related to your buildings, custodial, utilities, that type of work. You can see there, if you look at the net change in fund balance near the bottom there, between the 2 of those funds, they had a decrease of about $4 million, or a net loss of about $4 million. So in the ed fund, the fund balance went from about 10.2 to $8 million. In O&M, it went from 4.2 to about 2.5. So those are sort of, a significant decrease in the fund balance. And that is something just to be cautious of and aware. Those are your 2 main funds. You still have about $6 million in working cash. The rest of the funds seem like they are running. They had all other ones had net income across the board, but you can't have net losses continually in your 2 main operating funds in a long haul. So I just wanted to point that out. A couple other things that I see too, just in general, as a school district auditor that works with school district, and something to be aware of is related to, moving forward. What do we see moving forward? We got to realize that, a lot of the ESSER funding that was COVID related, this is going to be ending soon. That money is going to be drying up, not available. So, inflationary concerns now moving forward. I'm sure you're all well aware. Everything is costing more, more money than it used to. It's almost a swing from a few years ago when your expenses were down and grant money was coming in good. We're good. Now it's sort of swinging the other. It's going to be a little bit of a belt tightening. And, I just want to talk briefly about the pension funds and the OPEB funds of the districts. And even though they're not recorded, they're required to be recorded in regulatory financial statements. We provide the information as supplementary information starting on page, in the back, near the back of the report, starting at page 50. And we have multi-year schedules, trend information. Starting on page 50, IMRF fund is a pension fund for non-certified employees. It's an agent multiple employer plan. Every year, a different rate is set that the district pays to fund it. There's a total pension liability of about $71.4 million there, and an unfunded liability of about $5 million there. So it's almost 93% funded, which is in good shape. The district and the employees are the people that fund it. The employees pay 4.5%. District pays at a rate that changes every year based on an actuarial valuation. So that is funded fairly well. The problem I just want to highlight a little bit is starting on page 53 is related to the teacher's retirement system. We have a schedule that shows 6 years of data moving forward. There's a pension, the district's portion of the TRS pension liability, it's about $2.2 million. It's not that big. The issue comes in, it's the state portion that's unfunded, is about $192 million, and that's just for your district alone. So that's another thing just to be concerned of. Moving forward, there's a big liability. Like I said, the district's share, these numbers aren't included in the financial statements, but we think it's valuable information. And these are put together by outside actuaries that are contracted with the state that figure out the proportionate shares of everybody's district. So DRS is funded at about 43% right now, which is a big difference than IMRF at about 92. There's one more schedule, an OPEB schedule that's related to the Teachers' Health Insurance Fund. That's on 56 and 57. I won't go through those numbers, but those are liabilities to the district as well. One other thing I want to touch on also is, in addition to the financial statements that we provide to satisfy your regulatory requirements, we're required to provide another letter, a couple more letters in a required communication letter packet. And one of them is related to internal controls and how we assess internal controls in a financial statement audit. Our purpose of our audit is not to express an opinion on internal controls. We are required to gain an understanding, document who does what, how things get moved through the business office. But again, like I said, our purpose is not to do an internal control study. So we do not issue an opinion on internal control. So basically, when we're not reporting any material weakness, but I'll say none of my districts I ever work with have perfect internal controls. It's always a work in process because it's based on segregation of duties, and a lot of my districts don't have the staff to segregate everything perfectly. So I just wanted to point that out. That is not something that we focus on, and that would be we could do studies like that, but that would be a separate engagement. We'd do it in a big dive into internal control processes and give recommendations, but that would be a separate type of engagement and potentially procedure documentation too. So just wanted to highlight that. Final thought here is when we issue this regulatory report to ISPD, we do it in there's an electronic workbook called an annual financial report, an AFR. Every district in the state, no matter how they report their financial statements, have to fill out this AFR. And part of that form, it calculates out a financial profile summary. I pulled a copy of the districts here, and it's based on a 4.0 scale. And there's various ratios that are calculated: fund balance to revenue, expenditures to revenue, days cash on hand, and some debt margins. The district calculated out to be a 3.35 out of a 4, which is in a review state. I think there's 4 categories: a recognition, review, warning, watch. So you're one down from the recognition. So part of the ones, the long-term debt was scored a little bit lower on, and expenditures to revenue ratios was scored a little bit down rather than a 4, because of what I spoke of before, that net loss in the operating funds and the ed and O&M fund caused the score to go down a little bit. So I appreciate you having me here tonight, and if you have any questions tonight, I'll be happy to try and answer them, or if you want to contact me at a separate time, that would be fine also.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board members to our auditor? Any questions? You've highlighted the reduction in the 2 funds, which are the principal funds. Any other red flags that you saw during the course of the audit?
None that really come to mind. I apologize, we're a little bit later being at this meeting than we want to be. It was a little bit of a trend. The first year, because this is our first year as the independent auditors, it's always a heavy lift, putting the financial statements together, getting the documenting everything we need for our audit file. We anticipate definitely to be a little more timely moving forward. And it was a transition year, I think we had for both sides, but I think we'll be a few months earlier moving forward, and we look forward to a continued relationship working with the district. And I'd welcome the board members or admin staff to reach out to us at any time during the year. We are here as a resource and would would be happy to, advise you,
Great.
just more than once, once a year at the meeting. So,
Well, we appreciate your work, and we appreciate the work of the business staff, because they were, I believe, helpful in the course of getting this information all pulled together. But thank you very much.
thank you.
All right. Is there a separate personnel?
Yep. Any personnel?
No HR report. Okay. Then we move right along to the principal's report and welcome Dr. Sims to the microphone.
Good evening, board members, President Bolin, Dr. Walters, community members, families, and friends. Welcome to Mark Twain. I am Dr. Vernita Sims, the building principal here at Mark Twain. Despite our modest size, our building serves as a cornerstone that embodies our commitment to student learning and student growth. At this time, can I please have all Mark Twain staff members to stand? I want to take this time just to say thank you to this team, for those that are here, those that are not here. I know they've been pretty much over me, but I do appreciate them sticking it in with me. And thank you for your flexibility. You are a very important part of our school community. Thank you. Here at Mark Twain, it's not just about the work here. Our school community fosters a sense of belonging among staff, students, and community builders. We are big on teaching students the academics for them to become functioning members in society. But we're also big on teaching students how to interact positively with peers and adults, sharing, fostering their critical thinking skills, and expressing emotions appropriately, which are crucial skills for them when they become lifelong learners. We also help students recognize and manage their emotions, develop self-control, and cope with the challenges in a positive way that supports their social and emotional well-being. We now invite you to experience the first-hand spirit of collaboration, innovation, and community that defines us. Welcome to our K-3 building, where we shape big ideas and students' dreams into realities. Can you play the video for me? So at this time, Dr. Walters, we want to say congratulations on your retirement. Your dedication, leadership, and tireless commitment to education has left a memorable mark on our district. Under your guidance, countless students have thrived, teachers have been inspired, and leaders have been enhanced our leadership skills. Our school community has also prospered. As you embark on this new chapter of your life, may it be filled with relaxation, joy, and all of the things that brings you happiness. Thank you for everything that you have done. Best wishes on your wonderful retirement. Your legacy of excellence will continue us to expire and more to come. Thank you. So give me a second. Yeah. But I have one more thing. I want you to read it. So I gotta go back and sit down.
I'll take it for you.
Okay. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, now I have one more thing I want you to read. Okay.
Here, let me take this up.
How many more board members do I have meetings? I only have 2 more, right? I only have 2 more. So I only have 2 more board meetings, and I just have to say to the administration, I know I drove you crazy. I know I'm really hard, but I do everything on behalf of the students, and that's never going to change. So, in honor of your, I'm supposed to read it? Okay. In honor of your retirement, Dr. Janera Walters, on behalf of Mark Twain Primary School, we extend our heartfelt congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. Your dedicated service as our superintendent has left a memorable mark, and your impact will be felt for years to come. Thank you for your years of dedicated service. Congratulations on your retirement. Thank you. Okay.
Are you still out?
That concludes our presentation. Any questions?
Thank you.
Green book that had the stuff in it. Rachel, do you have a green book?
I gave it to you already. Oh, no. She put that in there, too. Should we keep that?
I think,
That in there, too. Oh.
thank you.
You're welcome. Nice.
Okay, we're in public comment. When I call your name, please give your name and direct your comments to the board and the president. The president will recognize members of the audience who wish to make comments to the board regarding any topics related to school district business. The board will take all comments under advisement without discussion, which means the board will not respond tonight. If a member of the public raises an issue or concern that requires follow-up, the board president or superintendent will do so in a timely manner. Please give your name and direct your comments to the board. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. All individuals are to conduct themselves with respect and civility towards others, and we ask that you not make any personal attacks in the course of your discussion. The first person who signed up is Lisa Shaw. Okay. You want to step up to the microphone there?
Good evening. And
Good
Dr.
evening.
Walters, thank you. You've done wonderful service.
Thank you.
I'm mom, taxpayer. My son Brandon attends the transition program. And I want you guys to know, if you don't already know, what fantastic staff you have there. They are dedicated and they are skilled. My kid has some really serious behavior issues, and they have just done a lot of real good this year. As mom, my concern is that we are in the former Embrace building, and it is exactly the same as when he started the first day. There was assurances that there was going to be some things added to the building to enable goals to be worked on in the building, laundry, cooking. My son is not going to have a job, okay? That's not in his future. ADLs, he can be the best he can be with a lot of repetition. It takes a lot. I do what I can. I'm retired. I work with him endlessly. But to have to pack up clothes and drive to an alternate location to learn a laundry program, to have to purchase food and then drive to another location to do your cooking program, it isn't fair after a year. I understood that you guys, was in a fix with the last minute location, but we're going into the second year and I haven't received a date or any more assurances that this is going to happen. These disabled kids are in a warehouse. Great staff, they do what they can with what they have. And I appreciate them from the bottom of my heart, I do. From Penny Sylvester down to every single person that works there, because I'm a hands-on mom, okay? I pick up, I go every single day, and I bring him home. I am very involved, I know what's going on. And I can tell you, out of our 10 years of being in this district, this is the best staff we have ever had, honestly. So please don't think I'm just complaining, because I'm not. But it's not fair to have these individuals have you seen it? You know what I'm saying? It still looks like Embrace with some chairs. It just isn't fair, and every kid should have more. I think a year of waiting for something to happen is fair. And that's all I wanted to say, as I'm concerned. We've got to get the most out of the time that we have. I would love to see it with this group of staff, because they can do it. The progress he's made in just this year has been more than he made 4 years of high school. No kidding. Speech, we don't even have speech right now, but this kid is talking and more verbal, and it is the work of this staff, okay? So thank you for your time. Please put some consideration into the transition program. You've got a great group of staff, and they don't have all the tools they need. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Do you want me to comment or no?
I didn't say what she can stick around. Ms. Shaw, can you stick around till the end of the meeting? All right, thank you. Next is Robert Ellington Snipes.
To the Board of Education, to the Superintendent, I have two things I'd like to bring before the board. The first one, I want to start with a quote by a well-known individual that I believe is known for his famous quotes, and that's me. And that's this. You have to think bigger than the box you're limited to. You have to think bigger than the box that you limit yourself to. I give you that for free. The first thing I'd like to talk about, and there's a rumor that goes around, but I've been given the task to dispel the rumor. And so the way I dispel rumors is when people talk, I have a philosophy. When people have incorrect information, they'll use their imagination to disseminate misinformation. So what I am asking to do is, there's a lot of little things going around saying that the Youth Empowerment Executive Director will not be allowed in the community center and all this other kind of stuff. I haven't heard that, but if that's true, I trust that's not. But what I am going to do in the interim, they asked for a meeting with Christopher Bolin. I don't know why they think me and Christopher Bolin are on that same term, but I do know one thing about Chris, and that is that he will meet with the public In this case, it's not the public. I believe it's with Mr. Prude that's representing those individuals upon the youth empowerment. The youth empowerment, the students have a concern that they won't see Dr. Walters. I don't think that's the case with the community center, but if in case, kind of dispel that for me. And I guess they'll contact you or you can contact them. But have a conversation with them. I've had many conversations with Chris. Some good, some challenging, but we have never, ever disrespected each other over these probably 30 or 40 years that we've known each other. Also, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, Chris. You were in a situation where I observed that there was a 3-3 vote on this board. Your vote could have went one way or the other, but you thought about it and you adamantly basically gave that vote to name the building, the community center, and rightly so, after Dr. Walters. Thank you for that. I know a lot of times you don't get the thanks, but in this case, I want to give you a personal thanks as far as that's concerned. Of my 34 years of being in government and over 40-something years of working for and behalf of the people, a lot of times we don't get sometimes the credit that we deserve. And if anybody's sitting on the school board that hasn't experienced that yet, just keep on being elected. You will see that that's the case. The last thing I want to leave you with is the same thing I left with my executive director and the board of the community action agencies. And this is, sometimes we forget the people that actually work and make this happen. My 30 years in August of the school district, I want to leave this with you. There was a organist. He was like the Liberace of organists, and he played all over the world. And there was a young man that was behind the curtains that was actually blowing and pumping the air into the organ that allowed the maestro to play. From Carnegie Hall to Paris to France in the United States for the president, this man played. And one day he got up and began, after he got the accolades and they introduced him, he sat at the organ and he began to form his fingers. He began to play on the organ, but there was no sound. So again, he dressed up his hands and he began to position them to play, and there was no sound. And all of a sudden, he hollered in the back and says, "Hey, don't forget to pump the air into the organ." And the young man came out and he says, "Yes, sir. I've been doing this all the time, but I never got one accolade, one thank you, because I'm the one that have to do the work." So I tell you, in District 111, with all of the people that make this happen, it's not one, it's all of them, their dedication. Don't forget the ones that's blowing or pumping the air into the organ. Don't forget the ones that pump the air into the organs, and that's all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Snipes.
I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Okay, moving along to the consent agenda. Are there any items that any board member wants to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gabbing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnston. Is there any issue or item on the consent agenda that any board member wants to comment on? Hearing none, call the roll.
Archie?
Yes.
Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verrett?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Boland?
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Moving on to action items, the first issue is approval of board member expense reimbursement. I guess I'll make that motion because everybody else is conflicted a bit.
Miss Archie's the only one on there.
What?
It's only Miss Archie.
Oh, I thought there was a whole list.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
That's the yearly, that's
Oh,
what we've
then-
done so
Then
far.
we need a lot of debate on that issue.
It's only Miss Archie.
All right, we need a motion to approve.
Expense reimbursement.
So moved.
Sorry.
Second, motion by Mr. Gathing, second by Ms. Baronis. Please call the roll.
Baronis. Yes. Gathing.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Bolin.
Yes.
Will you abstain too?
Came close. Next item is approval to purchase custodial equipment for the community center. Need a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by who? I didn't hear who.
Deb.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Thank you. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Gathing.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie. Baronis. Yes. Bolin.
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Next is a request to add 5 additional transition days to the previous contract for Dr. Lance. I need a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Johnston. Any questions? Not, please call the roll.
Johnston.
Yes.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie. Baronis. Yes. Gathing.
Yes.
Bolin.
Yes. 7 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. Next is approval of the fiscal year 23 audit we just had presented to us.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Verret.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Archie. Baronis. Yes. Gathing.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Bolin.
Yes, he says with a sigh of relief. I'm glad we got that done. The other issues that are on the information and proposals, most importantly, we had the policy meeting, and all of those policy manual changes are on the first reading on this month. Anything else for the good of the order from any of the board members? I do want to comment, we had a very emotional dedication of the playground at Steuben School in honor of Mrs. Sarah Loring, a teacher there who was tragically killed in an auto accident with her husband. But I appreciate the work, Dr. Walters, you did in making sure that happened. And as you said at the dedication, I appreciate the work of the Steuben staff, her friends and colleagues, and her family was there, and that meant a lot also. But I just want to make a comment that I think it's a great legacy for an outstanding teacher. Other than that, our next meeting is May 13th at 7 p.m. at the junior high. And there's an LIA day coming. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Gathing, seconded by Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah,